I was curious enough that I returned to this overnight, sans your feedback from the first film, and put together a few things. So you have a little sequel film here, because I wanted to see personally what, where this could lead, attaching it, and mainly because you had mentioned it. I don't know if this is the orientation you had in mind, but with that said, I put together, I already had the models together, so I moved things around and adjusted things to act as if it were this close. And I'm not saying that we enclose this as they had earlier indicated, as the zoning department had indicated would be required for it to be considered attached. I'm really not having your thoughts yet. It's a little premature, but whether it's attached, whether it's enclosed, whether there's some sort of permanent enclosure here, and I don't think that's what you're heading for, but now that it's closer, this permanent attachment could be limited to just this point here, or even smaller than that. But for this short little exercise, I have just left that as it is, with this open breezeway here and then a breezeway through here. And there's a lot really, for one thing, if you did prefer the open breezeway and you liked putting together something like this, and didn't want to enclose that, and then you were fine with just having cover to this door, this existing door here, I think we have a really good architectural and logical and functional argument that I believe the zoning department would agree that this is the way to go for just a number of reasons. If you can live with something like this, or we can put together something that can work for you with the garage in this some similar orientation to this. And some of these advantages that I anyway see as advantages and have identified. And number one, it preserves these trees, which are pretty much irreplaceable, and it has this really nice open space here, and creates a nice open space here. And this was all just always going to be driveway, and you were going to be blocked from it whether this thing is back here or up there. And secondly, the second thing I noticed right away is that when we pulled this forward, we didn't have to go down with these deep footings and worry about subsidence and so forth. So to me, these footings here can be made of block. They don't have to be poured concrete, which is another advantage. That was just the two that I saw right away that I anyway saw as advantages. Another advantage was, I see it as an advantage, I just think this is a better use of the land that you have, your lot, if that something like this can work, if something can be put together that can work for you. But here is this blue line, so you'll just be removing that asphalt there. You will really not be adding, literally not be adding any asphalt. Which I don't know, the other one, I can't remember, the other one added some asphalt, but this one won't add any. As a matter of fact, this is your existing here, and it would just come straight up. And so that is the 15-foot side yard setback if you have an attached garage. And I'm not saying that they're going to rule this an attached garage. I'm just saying that it could be explored, and I think we have a good chance of it. But looking a little closer on this, just a couple of the details, this is still 5 feet away from this. And this, I've left this planter in for now. I don't know how you can grow something in there without artificial lighting, but I've left it in there for now because we have 5-foot clearance through here. And if that goes away, that becomes a lot more. You are going to be looking at the broadside of a barn here, and I believe that I moved this door down here, and with there's really, you can get by actually with just this corner column, but this one here, I'm going to take a 3x14 beam, but as it is, even with the brick wall in place, we've got 43 inches, 3'7" between it and that column. And over here it's wider, it's 5'7" instead of the 5'1". You can't get any more than that 5'1" because of that setback line down here. And this is where I recorded that pathway before, so this is where you were getting out of your car here and walking in. And that's obviously, so this at this point you decide where this door goes here, but you would have a lot of things to decide too, whether or not this is attached, and on and on. So the path goes from that to something like this, and again decide where this door is. I'm just showing a window here, I'm not sure. I really like this as a direct link here. Maybe there's some sort of closeting as you come through here. If this brick planter is taken away to here or whatever, there's just such a variety of things that could be done through here. I don't even want to get started on it for this film. But that path becomes just much shorter, and this is, I'll run this film. Oh no, I won't. I'll show you some of this outside, but before I do that, this model was built from an earlier one I didn't even include this in the last film, it was just something I was looking at. But a section through this garage this way, I had put this together a little differently because of trying to comply with the zoning code. Is actually has an architectural section that requires certain things to look and match good. You have to paint your house the same color, all that. But this was a section through here when I was experimenting with having this as a 512 pitch roof to match this up high. And I don't know about this lower skirt through that, but this was just a quick experimentation I was doing during the last film with changing that roof pitch. And this was the model that I started building, this attached situation, or closer semi-detached, however you want to call it, unless you enclose that joining piece. This gave you pretty decent sized room up here, and then you could see if you put, this is the 10-12 pitch roof, you still end up with a similar sized room up there, and it's probably less expensive. That would have to be checked. But the problem with this particular model was you didn't have an intention to have any kind of need for windows up here. This one and the other one are just shown for just to take away some of the wall area. But you didn't intend to have any kind of windows through here, so this is kind of invalid in that sense. So that's some of what you'll be seeing from outside, and that would probably have to be experimented with. Maybe this just drops down some or something happens. The city's going to accept some sort of matching roof line better than any kind of a departure this way. And so this is the structure that's going to be seen in some of these all of these outside shots, because I haven't messed around with these roof pitches up here or anything like that, because I don't even know if you're interested in this sort of thing at this point. But to show you some of the outside, this is the drive up the driveway. I'll just quickly stop here, ignoring this upper piece for now. It's pretty easy to imagine if you wanted an entrance door here, maybe there's a little glass in it, and then this becomes enclosed through here. And then you have to brace yourself as you turn around and look at this broad side of a barn. So those windows could be better used somewhere else, because they're not really serving a good purpose there. And then from back here, as I said, that center column, this window doesn't belong here, but this center column goes, window goes. And that's, I mean, very technically you could have this as, yeah, you could have no column here at all, and these could be built as trusses, but I'm not sure how much sense that might make. But I did not model it. This column isn't really in anyone's way here. So that's from that angle. So that is a short little prequel to yesterday's film, or the day before yesterday's film. And as I said, I don't know if something like this begins to be developed. I would have to take a look at what we do with some of these roofs. I wonder if perhaps this whole top piece gets a little bit shorter side to side. Right now, it's set in right now a foot on each side, and I don't know if maybe it comes in a little further. Maybe the key is that this front wall and back wall go front and back. But this was a starting point, and I did want to mention one other thing that I forgot to earlier in the film, and it's with regard to the advantages of this, having that structure there. And that is, and I haven't looked up what their other limitations are, but in the event that it would be permitted, if something like this happens, connected by conditioned space or not, there's still room for additional outbuilding here, and I would think that is permitted. If this becomes allowed as an attached, particularly it's obviously going to become allowed as an attached if this is enclosed, conditioned through here. But whether that happens, if that happens, there's still room for an additional outbuilding out here. And I'm showing, this is a 12 by 20 that I'm showing, and it still would be within your code compliance. There's still 3 foot here in terms of, but that's way up on your property line. I don't know if you want to be driving a lawnmower through this way. But I did want to mention that as yet an additional advantage of this, if we can locate this here somehow. So that's all for now. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and thanks very much.